Since we talked about the other Inquisition-aligned Space Marine chapter, let's just hit the other one, the Deathwatch. These ones are lined up with Ordo Xenos. Instead of killing all sorts of demons and chaos, they are aliens, pure aliens. They are very good at murdering aliens. That's their shtick. In fact, there's a quote that's often said around a Warhammer, like a big Warhammer phrase, "Suffer not the alien to live." That's literally them. That's their catchphrase, that's their whole thing. And they go about this in really interesting ways, as I think what's super cool about the Deathwatch is that they're basically the spec ops of Space Marines. They are the best of the best recruited from all over, which that is mainly how they operate. They have a lot of mobile bases around the galaxy, both in watch fortresses and watch stations, which actually, real quick, watch fortresses are essentially fortress monasteries, like those big places that Space Marines live at and recruit from. It's just got the word watch in it because they're the Deathwatch. And then the watch stations are really interesting. So when fighting Xenos, there's a lot of goofy stuff, like maybe a ritual site that they had, or maybe even a promise of return and like a prophecy. Or maybe the Emperor's Tarot gave a little gross reading on this area. The vibes are a little off. They set up a station to wait there for the Xenos to return so they can kill them. But from these stations, they recruit from other chapters, which is their main defining idea. The Deathwatch is not a single chapter that comes from any particular Primarch or source chapter founding. They are everyone, and they recruit from the best of the best, veterans from each individual chapter. Say, for example, as a Space Marine, one dude, he kills an Eldar real good. I don't know, he does some really impressive shit. The Deathwatch might notice this, or even his higher-ups might recommend him for Deathwatch service. To where then a watch captain gets involved, assesses the situation, and might just say, yeah man, you're joining the Deathwatch. Congrats. To where this is both a position of great honor and a bit of sadness, because on one hand, this is an immense honor. These are like dope fucking dudes. They're so impressive. They are absolutely ridiculously strong and skilled and great. It's a great service. On the other hand, all of his battle brothers have to sit there and be like, I'm probably never gonna see this guy again. That's my brother. He's just not gonna be seen. That's not to say this is permanent service. The Deathwatch is kind of a case-by-case thing, as you can be recruited for a really long service, like a couple centuries, or even like maybe just one mission. You're gone for like maybe 10 years, maybe 20, and then you're back. You go back and you're utter a vow of silence where you're not going to talk about anything happening with the Deathwatch or any Inquisition business, because that's how they operate. More than likely, they're just going to die in the line of duty, because that's the world of Warhammer for you. No one dies of old age in this setting. Now, this unique organizational structure is what builds like those blocks that makes the Deathwatch as cool as they are. I think there are three distinct reasons of what makes the Deathwatch so interesting with this particular aspect. First, this whole recruitment process ensures that everyone joining the ranks is the absolute coolest of the cool badasses. Like the Grey Knights, I'm not a fan. They're just written to be like trained from the ground up, the absolute greatest. I like the Deathwatch a lot more as an Inquisition-related like Space Marine faction, because instead they're all proven themselves on the battlefield and promoted to this rank. It feels more earned to me. Second, it promotes a really diverse group of people with a lot of different tactics and ideas. It is a proven fact in a team, having a wide variety of people with wide variety of experiences just makes things operate better, and you can see this, at least my personal interpretation of this, in the tactics they employ. They have a list of like official tactics that each of them kind of can be related to some of the chapters. Maybe they want to do an all-in rush forward assault, you know, a very Space Wolf or Blood Angel thing. Or they might do a literal White Scar invented bike assault, like a rapid assault hit and run. So it's that element. They can employ a lot of different tactics because they have a lot of people trained in these different methods of warfare, all contributing to the greater good of their fight. And then thirdly, it makes the most fun dialogue I have ever read in a story, because of all those pesky chapter rivalries. Now it's just talking a big game about how, a bunch of different people put together makes a group strong, but all these chapters have a lot of history, a lot of baggage, for a lot of different reasons. There's maybe some issues if you decide to put a Dark Angel and a Space Wolf in the same kill team. Maybe you put a Raven Guard and a White Scar in the same kill team. It's gonna cause some bickering. They don't fully get along. At least the Dark Angel Space Wolf thing is more of a like, let's kick each other's ass as brothers. It's a little more supportive than the others I've read about. This leads to great fucking dialogue, as if you read any Deathwatch book, which I haven't actually sat down to fully read one, I've read good portions of bunches of them and found some fun quotes, but it is so fun, just these people bickering at each other as they're employing some tactic. It's immensely fun. So all the Deathwatch books, from everything I've read and everything I've heard from the people I know who have read them, have highly recommended it. So if you're in any way interested in this like vibe of a story, just pick them up. Pick up the series. A lot of these recruits too are very proud of their chapter heritage. In fact, it is like a sacred thing to the Space Marines. There's a lot of history, a lot of baggage there. There's a lot. So on their pauldron that displays their chapter, instead of having like the Deathwatch chapter marker, it is instead still painted the exact same as their home chapter. Their entire armor is black except for that pauldron. Knowing where they hail from is very important to them, and erasing that mark is pretty awful in the eyes of a Space Marine, so they don't really do that. There's an exception, and there's an exception to the recruitment method I was talking about earlier. That is the Black Shields. Now the Black Shields, instead of being picked out by their commanding officers or a watch captain, put themselves into a form of self-exile due to something they did, where they fucked up, at least in their eyes. So they offer themselves to a watch captain to do Deathwatch service as some form of penance. In this case, they literally paint their entire armor black and shed their symbol because they are not worthy of it anymore until they can do something and do enough where they feel like they're worthy of returning to their chapter. I think it's cool, but some people disagree in the Deathwatch. These guys are seen as a bad omen, and a lot of times they're put in the same kill team because they don't want to really have that bad luck spread. Though I will state, hearing about this, it sounds pretty common. It is not. A watch captain in their career will see like a couple. This is not often. Space Marines are not the type of people to really shame themselves that often. So I will say, I've been saying a lot that they kill aliens. It's not exactly fully that. Another aspect of them is investigating alien like anomalies or recovering alien artifacts. They take them, assess whether or not they're too dangerous to exist, and either destroy them or keep them. The absolute most common way that the Deathwatch target Xenos when they're fighting are their different patterns of bolter ammo. They have a lot of different ammunition. This is the stuff you're directly using on their tabletop, by the way. They have a lot of variability in their rules. At least in 9th, I don't fully know how they operate in 10th. So they have a couple, I'll name a few because they're actually really fun. Like for example, they have the Hellfire rounds, which are actually not fire. It's more like a bioacid that is engineered to rip through and melt Tyranid like chitin, like just shed their armor. We also have the Revenant rounds, which they found a way to disrupt the Necron reanimation protocols. So if they kill a Necron with this ammo, they're staying down. And it doesn't fully end at just killing Xenos. They also have Vengeance rounds, which are armor-piercing, like bolter shells that are designed to kill Chaos Space Marines, specifically, if the name didn't give it away. And then this one's my absolute favorite. I think it's so fucking cool. So the Internal Fusion rounds. So this ammunition type is essentially the opposite of a normal bolter shot. Now, a bolter, for those that don't know, is a like 75 caliber bullet that has a gyro rocket that propels it a little faster, and when it hits you, it waits a little bit as the ammo penetrates and then explodes. Instead of exploding, it implodes. It just crunches like a fist closing on something, which this ammunition is particularly used on big scary monsters and shit that regenerates, because nothing fucks up regeneration than just their insides collapsing in on itself. It is so fucking cool, actually. This whole aspect, like their use of different weapons and tech, is I think the part that really sells that these guys are specialists at killing Xenos. They know all the tricks, they got all the tools available. It's just knowing when to switch it out at the right time and use all of these tools in their training effectively. Yeah, that's honestly the Deathwatch. They're not like the Grey Knights, not super complicated. They're just interesting. So pitching them is really just telling you all the cool, unique stuff they do, which is a lot. And I do mean it. Go pick up a Deathwatch book. I'm probably going to after this video airs. But yeah, that wraps it up. If you like this, like, comment, subscribe, do that stuff, join my membership, and see ya.